So it's walk me home time. It is what will probably be my Friday night. I won't go into why, but I think they're going to give me tomorrow and Tuesday off rather than have me work Monday. Have off Monday, work Tuesday, off Wednesday. I won't go into why, but yeah. So they are trying. There's more lighting. That's good. More lighting. This wasn't here the other day, and this sure wasn't here. So it's a start. But every driver I have who drops me late at night, and particularly every woman, is like, "Oh, this is awful." And you know what? They're right. It is. So I'm going. But I have my angel armies. And since it is Sunday, I probably didn't get any mail today. And somebody apparently ran into the stoplight at my subdivision and almost took off the sign. And there's a bumper in a vacant lot and broken glass everywhere. I hope the person's okay. Oh, but it was so fun. So my last driver, I get on the bus and I had just two of my recipients on the way home were frankly pretty scary people. And the last one was a very large guy who wasn't right for one reason or another, and he wasn't making a lot of sense talking. And he had a big pipe under his arm, which I found kind of concerning, but he didn't use it on anybody or anything. But he recognized me as the candy lady, basically. And so he asked if he could have some, and I said, of course. So I gave him one with the New Testament. So I like that because it's what my friend is sending me has a New Testament, Psalms, Proverbs. And I think I put a tract in, and I think the tract was actually tailored to recipients like him. So it's very interesting how God knew this morning who was getting it. It's all God. So I get on the bus and I said, I'll have it in just a sec. She's like, what? And I paid, which is probably a big deal for her, especially on the 85. And so I went to dig into my bag, and happily I found another New Testament bag. And I had some that were done up with Spanish. It just had like a little Spanish booklet and some candy and a note in Spanish, my very bad Spanish. So I gave that to her, and I also got these little personal alarms, which the drivers were really happy to get tonight, which I thought was interesting. Even the guy, we got a very clear directive: give the man the personal alarm. So I did. And oh wow, you can't even see me, it's so dark. So the lot of street lights out. Well, yeah, after that accident, I'm not surprised. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4 street lights got knocked out because of that. So I got on it, and I finally gave her the candy. I said, and here's a little, and I gave her the alarm, and I told her about it. And she looked at the candy, and she gasped. I said, it's you. And I'm like, huh? I've never seen this lady in my life. She was a very nice lady. And she said, you're the candy lady. You're the candy lady. And I'm like, yeah? And it's you. And she was so excited, like she was meeting a celebrity. And she said, I've seen your stuff, basically, at the shop. And I've heard about you, but I've never met you. And I'm like, oh, well, here I am. And I just, kind of gave her a little wave and sat down. And I said, by the way, there was a guy a couple days ago. I got a bunch of candy on sale, and he looked like he was having a really bad day. So I gave him one of the candies and told him to help himself and take the rest of the layover lot. And she's like, he did. I'm like, oh, wow. So that was cool. And lighting's a little better here. And So that was fun, and I'm not doing it for recognition though, because there are plenty of people who don't like what I do, and I bet that car behind me thinks I'm some kind of vagrant, even though I'm wearing a clean white coat. Yeah, slow around to check me out. Alrighty. Oh yeah, that's a nice car. So, oh well, I don't really. I'm the square peg. This is a round hole. They don't really get it. Although I'm sure there's at least one other evangelist in this neighborhood. Probably didn't speak the same language, but I got a lot of Vietnamese, Spanish, Black, Latinos, but not a lot of white people. It doesn't bother me one bit. So anyway, so that was fun, but I don't do it for recognition. Because I will tell you, on many of the handouts, just standing there with the sign, people know you're there, but they're not going to look at you. They're not going to acknowledge you because I might ask them for money. It can be discouraging because they're obviously not even looking at the sign, because if they look at the sign, it's very clear. God loves you. Free Bibles. It's very clear. But they're not interested, so and then I get heckled sometimes. People throw things. I had a carload of kids that was barking at me. They kept making the block and coming back and barking at me. I don't know why, but yeah, things like that. So there's a mockingbird. Hey, I got my lighting back. Thank you. So I have a really dry mouth and throat. I took a Sudafed. But yeah, I had fun drivers tonight. That was the first time I think I've seen those drivers since the bid. I don't normally get off at 10. Or I was getting a ride, I guess. I don't know, but one time Ron and I went around stealing bags of leaves from my compost pile. I put him in his lap in the wheelchair. We rode around like a couple of bandits. Had a good time. And then later on, I thought, what if there's dog poop in there? So, yeah, I didn't do that again. But, so it was a long day at work. They had me start early and stay late, which is good. I can take that money and spend it on candy or Bibles or some kind of outreach. I'm also going to get a few quotes on insurance from a company that I've heard good things about. Because I got a letter with my insurance last year that I had a $7,500 deductible for any wind or hail damage. And I cannot just generate $7,500 like that. So, that could be a big problem. And my experience with FEMA a couple years ago, they're not easy. So, I didn't get any FEMA money, even though I should have at least gotten something for groceries. But, God took care of me. So, that's been my experience, though, that the obvious source of help isn't a help to me, but some alternate sources that's just completely out of the blue, like my friend who sends me all the New Testament. You'd think it'd be somebody closer to home, but it's not. It's somebody in Tennessee. So yeah, God bless it. So oh, hi there. It's the candy lady. Yeah. I actually thought about getting a hat that says Candy Lady with like a cross and a piece of candy on it, but that seems kind of pretentious, so I'm not going to do that. But I do have a cat lady hat. One of my friends talked me into buying it when we got it at work. But yeah, at the very least, I'm off tomorrow. I am hoping to do some kind of Bible handout because there was a big shooting at a house party in Acres Homes. 6 people got shot. That's the kind of thing, based on my own personal experience with violence, that it gets you thinking about the long term and what your choices are and what choices you need to make. Okay. I think there's a guy in the backyard to my right with his dog. So, but it's a big fence, so I'm not worried. So, yeah, so I think that might be a good opportunity. I try to go out and things like that, and this may not make me look good, but I actually went out right after Sandy Hook and did a handout, and I had people stopping me before I even got out of the neighborhood. So, you know, you can get beauty for ashes from bad situations, like Ron getting run over and me handing out all these Bibles. So, I may do that. I may just go to Greenspoint, which is always a good time, you know. They have apparently taken all the drug dealers out of Greenspoint. It's very unusual. Although there was that weird naked dude the other day, so I don't know what that was. And this house, that the AC is always running if it's above like 50 degrees. It's crazy. I would hate to see their electric bill. So I keep my AC at 85. And I don't say this in person to people in Houston because they think I'm a lunatic. But even then, it's still pretty high, the bill. But my house doesn't have insulation either, which I found out years after I bought it. The inspector did not do a good job. It's a good thing I don't remember his name. So, so I need to decide, you know, do I do that? Do I just stay home and rest? I don't know. So I'll think about it, but pray on it, you know, ask for God for something obvious if possible. But, yeah. Well, I have a friend who would like to come with, and that's been an interesting experience for me. I've had a few people come with. There was my friend Craig. He had bad knees. He couldn't really stand on the median, but he sat at the bus stop and he was preaching repentance, which I thought was good. He wasn't getting a lot of interest in the neighborhood, but at least he gave people something to think about. And then there was a lady at the post office who was asking me a lot of questions, and oh, that sounds so interesting. My daughter and I would love to go. And after the handout, they were late, by the way, so we were doing it in the dark, and they couldn't see us very well. And, you know, she's like, "Oh, I see why you wanted to go in the daytime." And after it's all done, she drops us at the house. She goes, "Oh, thanks. This is going to make a great college essay." They used a Bible handout for a college essay. That is not cool. She got in, if that matters. But I just thought that was a really lousy thing to do. And she knew, if she told me ahead of time, I would not have consented. But people got the gospel, so yeah, that's what matters. So it's been kind of mixed. I can't think of anybody else who wanted to go on a handout with me and Ron. But it was funny because the first handout Ron went on, I took him to 249 in Antoine. And we're on the median, and these guys ride up on horses up the median, and the horse is bent over and is sniffing Ron's head. He's in the wheelchair, and Ron was just tripping. And, you know, the guy wanted Ron to give him the Bible. I had that happen a few times. They wanted Ron to give him the Bible. Ron didn't really want to hold the Bibles, but I would give him one and he would pass it along. And, so that was interesting for him. And at the end of it, Ron's Bible handout career, which was a few years later, we were going to Imperial Valley and Greens Road. Sound familiar? That's always a good spot for a handout. Just a lot of apartments, very dense population, underserved, for lack of a better word. So, they had a fried chicken place at a gas station. Oh. Ah, it's happy. Oh, it's all happy. Yeah, that's why he needs to get neutered. Oh, I wish I could talk to his dad. But I don't have good Spanish, and how do you say we need to castrate your cat? I just don't know. So I just don't want enemies. But so we would go and do the handout, and then we would go past the drug dealers into the fried chicken place. And it wasn't a chain either. It was just some independent place. And Ron would get a chicken special and eat it, and then we would call our friend the cab driver, and he would take us home. So no deliveries. Nobody got into stuff. Okay, so I am home. Thank you.